Lost on Lost Season 2, baby!
Hell yeah!
We've watched Seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Lost, and we've learned a lot.
Did we?
And we've learned to love Jack, Kate, Sawyer, Boone, and Claire.
Did we?
But now it's time for Seasons 4, 5, and 6.
That's right, we're still going to talk about the mysteries and mythologies of the island.
And obviously hot tropical hookups.
But now we're going to talk about things like the freighter,
The Others,
Charles Widmore,
The Lighthouse,
time travel,
9/11,
Ronald Reagan,
the Catholic Church,
Titus,
Gold Chains,
the military-industrial complex,
the Prison Industrial Complex,
the Void,
the Orb,
and so much more.
So strap on and strap down, because if you thought last season was confusing,
This is going to be so much worse. Or better if you like being lost on Lost. Strap on?
you heard me. Welcome, everybody, to Lost on Lost. My name is Adam Busher, and I'm joined, as always, by America's hero, Sergeant John Russell III.
I'm in the reserves. It's kind of like the scrimmage team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Russell was a redshirt walk-on with the United States Army back in 2015.
Rookie of the year, baby.
Probably would have went officer if he would have blown on his knee.
I blew some officer. Well, I wanted to, it's a very formal occasion because, Adam, we have a guest.
Yeah, nice change of pace.
We wanted to switch things up a little bit and have a guest. Ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited Doctor, Captain, Esquire, lawyer to the stars, and us, Nick Brandl.
Wow. What an intro. It has been a hot minute. I have been checking off calendars to get back on here. Not even the right years. I bought calendars from like the 80s and just be like, we're good. Get me back on.
Yeah, see the wall inside Brandl's garage is just like tally marks scraped in the in the siding, just like prison
Just like
cell
Castaway,
style.
you know.
He's been Andy Dufresning the calendar pieces just down his pant leg.
I have a big poster too.
Yeah.
But it's not of Raquel Welch.
No.
Who's it of?
It's of Vince Wilfork from the Patriots. He's a 330-pound defensive lineman. It's a picture of him wearing bib overalls and a hat that just says ribs because he's cooking ribs. Inspirational.
I'm the specificity. I'm concerned you do actually have that.
I'll send you a picture later.
All right.
It exists.
Welcome back, Nick. Damn, yeah, it has been a while.
You've been incredibly patient with us. We had to have you for this episode in particular. This is one, like, I mean, we might have been in, like, pre-production for the entire show. And you talked about having Nick for this specific episode. It just happened that it was so late in the run order. But we're here now, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
To go back to Coach's last appearance, you're going to have to go all the way back to episode 19 of Lost on Lost. Getting close to 100 episodes ago.
Don't call it a comeback.
Well,
right.
Nick, you were out of our 22,000 downloads. I think you're about 20,000 of them.
I will confidently say I am the only person in the world on this planet that has listened up until, I think it's confirmed dead. That's where I'm going to, but I'm the only person on the planet that has listened to every episode of this podcast twice.
I haven't listened to every episode twice.
During the summers when I'm golfing, you guys are there with me.
Excellent.
Oh, man. Has it helped your handicap?
It has. I was listening to an episode when I got my first hole-in-one this summer.
Man, I would have bet dollars to donuts that listening to that much Lost and Lost would have made you more handicapped.
Yeah.
What have you been watching in the past 100, almost 100 episodes?
Oh, boy. I'll just say recently because stuff has switched around.
Yeah.
Things like The Bear. Gotta watch The Bear.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Waiting for the next season of You to come out.
Yeah.
I recently got into Will Trent.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that
Kim
is.
Davister's a big fan of Will Trent.
Yeah, I started that one. Severance is back on.
Yep.
Love Severance. Russian Doll was one I watched.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know where that came up, but I got into that. Also, every Ken Burns documentary ever. I've gone through that.
Your close personal friend, Ken Burns.
A lot of true crime stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, because I'm married now, so that's usually on the background of TV about like how to kill your husband, and it's like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. And then my usual annual viewing of Sports Night.
Yeah.
Where I just watch the whole thing. Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's worth it. Sit there and take all the pies in the face. Sometimes you just sit there, hip deep in pie.
Hip deep in pie. Two things I do want to mention that I watched. There was an ABC show called Big Sky It was set in Montana. Okay. One of the side characters was Henry Ian Cusick.
Oh.
Nice.
Desmond was on there.
Hey, we know that guy.
And then a Hallmark movie called Christmas Sale, S-A-I-L.
Oh, no.
Starring with Terry O'Quinn.
Oh, hell yeah. Christmas Sales, Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I didn't watch it the whole way through. And the woman from Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
the main characters,
The blonde lady.
Yeah. Katie Sackhoff. Starbuck?
Yes, Starbuck, yeah.
Was Christmas Sale all like nautical themed? Was it like
there was a boat involved? Yeah, it was a boat.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was. Woman comes back home to her hometown. Dad, recently after her mother's passing, Dad is sad, and then he fell at his home, broke his arm, and there's a sailboat that they had, and she wanted him to sell it. And he won't sell it because of all this, and then I turned it off. So that's about as far as I got. I don't know how it ended. I'm assuming some guy came in. They got
They
romantically involved, saved everything.
Yeah.
They kept the boat, had a business with it. I don't know. Charter fishing.
The guy who ran the marina was her childhood sweetheart.
There you go.
They got married, and now the boat is the mascot for the local sports team.
Well, cool. Hey.
Do
you guys want to talk about Lost?
Yes.
I do. I really, really do.
Nick has a murderous look in his eyes right now. Okay, well, Boise, today, we say this all the time. This episode's either going to be 6 minutes or 9 hours. I don't know. Today we're talking about The Variable. The Variable is the 14th episode of the 5th season of Lost, and it is the 100th episode overall. Our centric characters, everybody's favorite little guy, Daniel Faraday. This episode was written by Kitsis and Horowitz and was directed by Paul Edwards. It originally aired on April 29th, 2009, and it takes place 4 days after the very successful and ably landed aircraft, Ajira 316, by Franklin J. Lapidus.
Captain.
Yes.
Franklin J. Lapidus.
Captain Franklin J. Lapidus. Adam. Do you have a recap? Please do it.
What's the best way to utilize closet space? Fill it!
I'm done. I'm fucking done.
On the island, Dr. Daniel Faraday returns to the island, ready to fix history and save his would-be girlfriend from having her brain turned into a smoothie. The only thing that could derail his plans would be a classic Jack Sawyer lover's quarrel. And in the after times, Ma and Pa Faraday have an icy reunion outside of, I assume, St. Sebastian's Hospital, the only hospital in the Los Angeles area, where Desmond Hume recovers from absolutely not getting shot by Ben.
Yeah, right.
Will Dr. Chang follow Daniel's advice and evacuate the island? Will Desmond pull through? Will Juliet realize she can do better than Sawyer? The answer to all of those questions, it's yes. And more! If only we can get through all of these idiotic letters that got spilled into my math. It's The Variable here on Lost on Lost.
Well done. I'm just going to say right up front, this is the most confused I have ever been by an episode of this show. I was going to watch it a second time and then go to Lostpedia, and I decided, nope, I'm sure Nick's got it. I'll figure it out. Starting off the podcast, pilot. Got it. Next one, the biggest thing I got to tackle is that guy I just met named Boone. He's dead. Great. This, I don't know where most of this is happening, and I'm really having problems piecing it together. So,
sure. Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So this, the episode starts in 2007. This is we actually just recently saw the beginning of this scene in Dead is Dead, which we talked about last time on Lost.
Yeah.
Desmond is rushed to a hospital with Penny and little Charlie, their 2-year-old son.
Do they establish where he's been shot?
At the marina.
Well, no, like in his body.
Those shoulder.
Because It's in the recap, and we talked about this in the last episode. It just shot the groceries.
Right. The grocery bag exploded, and it did not look like Desmond got hit by a bullet. It looked like he fell over because of the shock of being shot at.
Right.
Like, I can't believe him, Ben. How
expensive eggs are? No.
Yeah. If a bullet hits the dozen eggs in my bag and it goes all over my face, that's my exact reaction.
Yeah.
It's just going to fall backwards, hit the back of my Durango. It's over.
And I am shooting at you and your eggs all the time.
Yes.
So.
And then recover immediately, beat the piss out of the guy who shot me, and then attempt to drown him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah. So like they rush him in. It's scary. Obviously, like they had a harrowing experience trying to get back together. They're back together. They're happy. They're hiding out. They have a child. It's all good. Penny's very distraught, so she's chilling in the waiting room with Charlie. And Eloise Hawking arrives. She's like, oh hey, what's up? I'm Fiona Flanagan. I believe that my son may be responsible for your husband's injury. And she's like, you're Ben Linus's mother? And she's like, good Lord, no.
Gross.
He didn't have a mother. He was hatched.
He is a lizard person.
Yeah. And that's sort of what happens in this little tag here. And then we get the card, the 30 years earlier card.
That fucking serif font.
That we are going back to back to 1977.
And
yes.
Let me tell you how I feel anytime I'm watching something and I see something that says 30 years earlier.
Nick is currently pulling out a flask.
It's like I wrote down here 11:52 a.m. start, 11:54 a.m. pissed.
This is why you didn't take my offer for a cocktail.
So we're all right. So 30 years earlier, we don't know how we're getting there. Mm-hmm. Right.
Correct.
Especially if you're watching it out of order,
yes.
Like you go through, you're like, okay, This is going 30 years earlier. And then we come back, and then I will keep going on this. But obviously, the main theme of this episode is time, right? It is all about time. And I have some numbers down here.
Please.
I have some other research and stuff that's going on.
Love numbers.
But it's all about time. And if you know me, I don't like movies with vampires. I don't like movies with water. And I don't like movies that don't obey the laws of thermodynamics. So I get frustrated.
I didn't know you didn't like movies with water.
Oh, yeah. Well,
is that why you were so mad when we went and saw At World's End?
Yeah, but not as mad as I was with the Transformers movie where something blows up on the moon and
there's no air.
Starts a fire. I almost walked out.
I remember all of us sitting in a row at the theater of the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I think it was the part where the two ships are shooting each other in the hurricane, and you were just looking down the row at all of us,
just angry,
just staring,
just
furious. Yeah.
So much so there's that scene in Philadelphia where Tom Hanks drinks a glass of water, and Nick was like, "Not on my watch."
No, not doing it.
Are you kidding? Fish make love in that. You.
That's where sharks fuck.
Yeah.
30 years earlier.
and this is another episode, the end of that might have been the end of whatever happened was when the sub returned with Faraday. So we've also seen here on Lost and Lost the beginning of this scene. Miles walks up to the sub dock, and then Faraday is like, "Hey Miles, long time no see."
He does the whisper acting thing, you know.
And so like the continuation of that scene, which we've seen the beginning of too. Miles jumps out. He's like, "Hey, I'm here. I need to see Jack immediately." And
hey Adam.
Yeah.
How did Daniel get back to 1977?
Daniel was with...
If you just say it's because he's a variable, I'm going to kill you.
Daniel was with Sawyer's group, time skipping. And so he got to 77 the same way that Sawyer, Juliet, and Miles and Jin got to 77. He was bouncing around time with them. And then when the time skips finally stopped, Faraday was with that group. He joined the Dharma Initiative with them just like that. But because he's a scientist, he returned to the mainland to do research at Ann Arbor, where Juliet, Sawyer, Jin, and Miles stayed on the island to have just like a chill life. I don't believe we've seen that.
Do we see that?
Because that might happen in Jughead.
Oh, there's this fucking episode called Jughead. I hate the name of the episode.
Yeah.
And apparently everything that holds everything together in this entire fucking show happens in Jughead.
Jughead's pretty important.
Jughead is pretty important. So I think at the beginning of the season he's still with with Sawyer's group.
Okay.
And then
I'm so confused and I know I'm missing something and I just Okay. All right.
He has a get out of island free card by being kind of a scientist.
Yeah. Okay.
So he can go back to Ann Arbor, which sucks. Ann Arbor sucks.
But all of him crying and losing his mind, is that supposed to take place before season 4?
Yes.
Can I borrow that flask real quick?
Faraday saw a picture of Hugo and Kate and Jack in the new recruits photo, and he was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta get back to the island and straighten some shit out," and that's why he's here.
There it is. Yep.
So he said he demands of Miles to go. We got to go talk to Jack because I got to figure out why and how they got back here. They head over to Jack's house. T2J, 2 minutes 1 second. Jack comes wandering out of his bedroom, answers the door. Oh, hey.
Gotta show off those abs and that shitty tattoo.
And rolls in. He's like, like, oh, hey, Danny. Hey, Jack. How's it going? What are you doing here? Oh, your mother told us to come here and said that was part of the plan. And Dan's like, she was wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that scene. Lost card comes through, and we have it. This is a proper flashback to time before the 815 crash. I'm assuming early to mid 80s with young Daniel and Ellie. And this is based on, because they don't establish what time it is really, but this is based on if Ellie is pregnant with Daniel in 77, she must have given birth to him no later than 78. So if he's 10, this would be 88 if he's...
Yeah.
So I guess it could be as late as the mid-late 80s. But he's just playing the piano, the classic instrument that will show a TV-watching audience that a child is intelligent.
And whenever you see somebody on television is playing the euphonium, they just got a massive unit.
Yeah. And they're like, man, that guy probably fucks.
That one's for you, Chris.
All right, so
yes.
He's going through, playing the piano, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's on top of the piano?
A metronome?
Which keeps
Time.
So here we got time. Right now, he's beholden to time to play this music. And
Damn, Nick, you should go to film school.
And then Eloise comes in, and what did she do?
Stop the metronome.
Sat down?
Stop time.
Oh.
She stopped the metronome, so.
Yeah.
I was looking at her blouse, sorry.
She says to him, she's like, you have a gift. How many times has the metronome clacked since you started playing the piano? And he's like, 837 or 834 times. I can count like motherfucker.
Shouldn't it have been 815? Come on.
Yeah. Thanks, Dustin Hoffman. We get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're super smart, and so because of that, you can't go into the arts. You have to go into STEM. It's just as simple as that.
That's it.
Computers.
There's going to be no time for distractions. Things that you love, things that excite you, things that ignite joy within you, nah. You have to focus on what your natural abilities are and fulfill your destiny. Destiny, which is also something that runs in parallel with time in a lot of these types of stories.
Yeah, we'll get to destiny.
Yeah,
we are going to get to destiny.
I'll save it. 77. Dan and Miles drive to the Orchid while Jack goes to talk to LaFleur. He's like, hey, fucking Faraday's here. They're doing a thing. What's going on? James is like, I think we're about to get found out. He's like,
yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, well, the security team has evidence of me and Kate doing hood rat shit, so... Yeah, we're about to get found out.
Yeah. Also, there's a guy in my closet.
Yeah. I got the guy. I got the guy who has the evidence. I tied him up and put him in the closet.
Yeah.
So right as Sawyer's about to, or right as LaFleur's about to close the door on him,
yeah.
Did you catch what he said?
No.
When Jack was going on through all this stuff?
No.
And this was probably like the second or third time I was watching it.
Yeah.
He says something like, I'd love to trade theories about this, but we don't have time.
Yeah. Yep.
And
time.
Well, I was just looking at that like, okay, we're in the 5th season of Lost right now, and the internet is going big. Are they taking a shot at like the people that watch Lost with all these theories and stuff that they come up with? Do you think that was written in there?
They were starting to get. The writers were very aware of what the fan base was saying about stuff all the time and the theories, because like the internet and the forums and all that stuff, like it was there. It was easy to access, and the writers did start taking pot shots at the audience a little bit, especially in the second half of the show. So maybe it's like yeah. Hey, LaFleur's like, Jack, why don't you get a hobby, man? I don't have time to talk about this. Nobody has time to talk about this. Yeah. We've all got jobs.
There's plenty of good shows on CBS. Just go. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So Phil, he points out Phil, played by Patrick Fischler. He's just one of LaFleur's, formerly one of LaFleur's goons. Now, not one of LaFleur's goons anymore.
Now he's a shoe rack.
Yep. Cut over to the Orchid. Dan and Miles are there waiting for Dr. Chang to arrive, because Dan has to talk to Dr. Chang. Pulls up, goes down the elevator, whatever.
Do you think scientists always wear lab coats, even when they're outside and stuff?
Always, yeah. That's how you know they're scientists.
Yeah, that's how, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Whenever I see a guy in a lab coat, I always think of the bit from Half-Baked. Excuse me, janitor. Yes, scientist.
Yep, that's exactly it.
So Chang goes into the dig site. He's got to go talk to the people. There was an accident that has been sort of averted. Not really.
Again, I know that we've seen this bit sort of, but I don't remember where it was.
We saw half of the scene in, either Because You Left It a Lie, and then here's the rest of it.
So why especially if his whole thing is like, I gotta talk to Dr. Chang, why did he move the air tank and then go talk to Dr. Chang?
I think he just wanted to see the progress they were mamaking.
Oh.
Are they getting close enough where it's gonna go?
Just using a prop to make sure that nobody questioned whether or not he belonged on there. Because, I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but his jumpsuit doesn't say Dan Scientist.
Yeah.
It says Joe Contractor.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of deceit, something that he is engaging in, just being here in the first place. And must be, I don't know what it must be, honestly. Why not? Why can't he just be Dan? Did he assume the identity of Joe Contractor, just like Sawyer assumed the identity of James LaFleur, security?
Right, he's part of the Dharma Initiative. It's a stranger that he's wearing someone else's jumpsuit.
Right.
And Joe Contractor is definitely popular. Somebody puts tape over and it says Joe Mama, and then they're like, and Joe's like, at least they're interacting with me. I didn't have a lot of friends. That's why I joined the Dharma Initiative. Guys, stop giving me swirlies. Man, I really feel for Joe Contractor now.
I'm coming around on Joe Contractor.
Yeah.
So he goes down there and he's just like, hey man, check it out. That guy that you just hiked out of here who had his own fillings sucked out of his head by magnets. That shit's gonna keep happening. Get everybody off the island. And Chang's like, nah, it's under control here. He's like, but yeah, you guys are building a different thing over there and it's gonna be way worse. So I don't have any evidence to back this up, but I think the power of that magnet can pull planes out of the sky. Chang's like, that's bullshit. How do you know that? He's like, I'm from the future. He's like,
yeah, I know all sorts of stuff.
Oh, I'm definitely not going to believe you now because nobody's from the future. Time travel's not real. Except Chang does believe in time travel. That's what he warned the other guy, the other construction worker that's down in the tunnel.
The Teamster.
Yeah. Dharma Teamster.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, hey, stop using tools, otherwise we're going to rip a fabric in space-time. I need to harness that energy to create a time toilet or something. And the contractor's like,
whatever.
Yeah, it's overtime after 40, so just I don't give a shit.
Dan follows Chang in the elevator up to the surface of the Orchid construction site and continues to reinforce his warning, trying to convince him that he's like, giving him a little bit of, snippets of what the future, is like. This is how I can prove I'm from the future. Have you? They're going to ruin the ending of Saint Elsewhere. And he's like, I don't believe it. This is bullshit. And then Miles is like, he runs over. He's like, Dan, calm down. It's all good. I mean, Joe, whatever. It's all. And then Dan's like, this guy right here is your son. Like,
so just
a Chinese guy with the name Miles, the same name as your son. What kind of fucking coincidence is that? Do you honestly believe in coincidences that strong? There's no way. And Chang's like, I gotta go.
I wish in unison Miles and Chang would have just looked at him and gone, "You're racist," and then they would have realized that they
tilt their head to the side the exact same way.
That's pretty racist, Dan.
You say we all just look the same to you?
Cut to the mid to late 90s. If Faraday was 10 in 88, he's 20 in 98. So yeah, maybe this is like 98, 99, 2000, something like that. Maybe early 2000s. He's the youngest doctor.
Whatever it is. Just look at his hair.
It's a sick hairdo.
Dude, that's like a wig that Cher probably had that got launched into space and brought back down by astronauts. It's insane.
Are you the lead singer of Filter?
Hey, isn't that chick from Evanescence?
Dan's the youngest doctorate graduate in the history of Oxford, so he doesn't necessarily have to be 20 28 or 30, however old you are when you get a doctorate. He's younger than that. So it's obviously pre-2004. He's there. He's got this lady friend who's with him celebrating the big graduation, and his mother is there. She says that she's there to congratulate him and to remind him that he doesn't have time for distractions, and he should really let go of the cupcake and get back to the numbers, because no distractions.
Speaking of distractions, I'm looking up pictures of Amy Lee from Evanescence right now.
Can confirm.
Not bad.
It's the same hairdo.
It really is.
Wake me up. They have dinner together without the girl.
Yeah, Eloise is just super rude.
She's very understanding of how Eloise is so mean to her, yeah.
That's the thing, is like, we can get into this, the spoilers for Lost Forever, but like, there's this weird incongruency where like, Charles at least like is written evil and then is portrayed evil. Like, she's supposed to be like semi-evil, but her performance, like, there's some incongruency there where I'm just like, I don't get why you're here.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And she owns a pendulum, which I canonically hate.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They have dinner together. Dan reveals during this meal that that he has received a 1.5 million pound research grant from some dude named Whitmore. I don't know. Never heard of it.
Some rich white guy.
And Ellie's like, oh, weird. I used to bang a guy named Whitmore. And so Dan's like, what are you really doing here? And she's like, I just wanted to congratulate you. Here's a gift. It's a journal. A little leather-bound journal. It's kind of a nice present. Go back to 77. Fucking James and the others have to figure out how to proceed there. The jig is up. Phil is in the closet. The tape of James and Kate taking Ben to the others has been seen. So they figure they only have two options. They can either hijack the sub and be feet, or go back to the jungle and just like be jungle people.
And as with anything else that has happened in this show from season 1 to now, there can't be a consensus. There just can't be a freaking consensus.
No.
They have to, I'm going to do this. And it's always a Sawyer Jack thing right down the middle. And it's like, come on.
And it's always, we're going to do it in an hour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Lack of a decision. Dan and Miles arrive and Sawyer welcomes it. Come on into the meeting. We're trying to figure out what to do. Dan presents a third option. He has to go to the hostels and see Ellie and talk to her about whatever. He's got a separate plan, different from escape, which they were discussing.
Which is the worst of the three plans that they have here. That's the worst of the three plans.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't really help any of the other scenarios.
Not at all.
No. Cut to 2004. So this is Dan watching the crash footage. We saw this in Confirmed Dead.
Oh, yeah.
So sad. He doesn't understand why he's so affected by this, but it is bothering him. Knock at the door. His caregiver lets in the OC's Allendale.
Yeah, we finally see who the caregiver is.
Yeah. And they have this conversation. It turns out that Dan was dismissed from Oxford. He says something about he tested it on himself. He would have never harmed Teresa. He also mentions that he has a memory problem now. So, like, did he have some sort of experiment that he, like, is this like a less cool, like, Seth Brundle thing from The Fly? Like, he's like, I'm going to try this out on myself. And then he just, like, accidentally destroyed his own short-term memory.
Well, I was going to say, did he, probably something with Desmond in The Constant?
Maybe. Because, yeah, he did. He was experimenting with the laser on the mice and the maze.
Yeah. Mice laser. Yeah. But something. Yeah, or if just him being aware that he was affecting the time-space continuum then screwed with him.
Or maybe he was like, all right, I taught the mouse how to play Crash Bandicoot. It's time to step it up to the next level of experimentation, which is obviously, I'm going to see if I can teach myself how to play Crash Bandicoot. And then he space lasered himself in the head with the time laser and accidentally replaced his ability to remember stuff with the mouse's ability to remember stuff. And now his memory is about 5.5 minutes long.
Or he went back in time and tried to teach the mice how to play RC Pro-Am. He just keeps getting going back to Atari or something.
Yeah, I got my hippocampus to port Doom, so...
I finally cured my my tinnitus. I no longer have a ringing in my ears, but now it's just the Doom soundtrack in my ear at all times.
I mean, that's just kind of joining the army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Whitmore's actually like very gentle with him in this scene. He's like, yeah, I know that you have memory problems, but I need you to do this shit.
And he pitches this thing to him too. He's like, I want to send you to my special island because it could heal you. I'm under the impression that the island may heal people, and maybe this will heal your memory problem. And even if it doesn't, I still need you to do it. But like, that's a little sweetener. You know?
Yeah.
Just like the title of the Wired magazine that he picked up,
which is
The Impossible Gets Real. Come on. Come on.
Nick watched this entire episode frame by frame.
I did. I really did.
I saw Whitmore pick up the Wired magazine, and it was a very pointed insert shot. And I was like, what was on that magazine? I'm not rewinding it.
Cut to Nick up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So, and again, we may or may not get into this, but like, Faraday's in a state right now. Like, he's got short-term memory problems, he's got long-term memory problems, he is not able to take care of himself, and in, I would assume, fairly small amount of time, based on the fact that he is watching the television of the 8:15 crash, he is able to like get his shit enough together to be part of the crew that goes to the island.
Yeah.
What a glow up. I mean, just what a quick turnaround.
'Cause yeah, I think it's been established that in between the footage of 8:15 being shown to the world at large and then the freighter departing for the island is only the span of a few weeks, because it's essentially the same amount of time that is covered in Meet Kevin Johnson. So yeah,
so month and a half.
Potentially less. Like, so yeah, despite, I mean, because he looks like he's in a pretty rough shape here. Like, yeah, like he's emotionally unstable. Like seeing this tragic thing on the TV is bringing him to tears. He can't remember anything. Like he mentions in there, like in a later scene, how Ellie's like, you know, I would have called, but you would have forgot. And it's like, so he can't remember shit like that. Like, yeah, he's in fucking tough shape. And it's like the freighter mission was like kind of a huge undertaking, and he didn't have a caregiver with him on the freighter. It seems like, unless there was, and we just never saw him. But like,
nah, Adam, follow me here. Nick, follow me here.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Where is Faraday right now in this scene?
In the living room.
And what's he wearing?
Wig.
Pajamas, right?
Oh, yeah.
And what's his state of mind?
Out of it. Sad.
Yeah. Maybe like he's lost his mind. Where's your mind located?
In your head? In your wig?
He's not wearing a tie. And his head fall off.
Head fall off. Maybe his head's falling off.
Maybe he just puts the tie on. He has like a tie-tying montage, and he gets his brains back.
Maybe.
Head fall off. I'm telling you. That's all coming back to head fall off.
Head fall off. That's true. Cut back to 77. So Jack thinks that helping Daniel is a good idea. So yeah, that'll probably work. Sawyer's like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I already presented the two better options, sub, beach. So they're having this argument about it, and fucking, so Brandl, I'm not surprised at all that you were infuriated much earlier than I was, but this is the moment in which I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Because
why? Get into it.
Kate says something like, and then
sounds just like her.
And Sawyer goes,
spot on.
Come on, Freckles. And
yeah.
And then Juliet's like, oh, right. I was the second choice. Hey, Kate, here's the code. Take your fucking ass and Jack, get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah, because Sawyer's like, I need you to, like, you, Kate, to, like, grow up a little bit here is basically, like, what it is. And, like, you know, think about people besides yourself. And then it calls her Freckles. And Juliet throws up.
This old pet name from the heyday of their stupid crush and their love triangle horse shit from seasons 1, 2, and 3 between her and Jack and Freckles. Shut up. In front of your wife. In front of your common law wife.
Right,
you moron.
No one else calls her that. Like,
nobody calls her that because it's infantilizing. No. It's gross.
It's misogynistic.
And again, it's in front of the perfect woman who you've bamboozled into spending time with you. You dumb guy.
No, still grabs his hand though.
Yeah. Well, we did have a similar situation where, like, obviously, like, I'm bamboozling Kai into marrying me. And she was pretty upset when Nick walked in. I said, hello, the love of my life, Nick Brandl. So, it's, similar but different.
Yeah, there's parallels.
Same but different but same.
So, yeah, Juliet's like, yeah, no, actually, here's the code 171. Like another opportunity to use the numbers, and they don't use them.
Come on.
And so Kate and Jack and Dan, they're like, they all sit, and then like they're like, hey Miles, can you drive us? None of us have an island driver's license. And he's like, this is an island. Just take the keys. I'm not going with you. Just drive.
Yeah,
y'all know how to
go.
drive. How come everybody's always asking me to drive them places? I'm constantly in every other episode being, hey, take me over here, take me over there. My shirt says security, not fucking taxi. I'd be pissed if I was Miles.
I'd be pissed if I was the parent of Charlotte.
Fucking playground at the Dharma Initiative has one of those signs on it that says, no adult men unaccompanied by children.
Dude, I love my nieces. I have a whole gaggle of nieces. If anyone ever sees me have this level of conversation with that wild look in my eye with any of my nieces, they're allowed to throw me in jail. Like,
yeah. I mean, you're.
Wait, Nick's he's lubing up.
All right, time travel or not?
Yeah.
Okay. He's going to a playground. He is approaching his future love
Crush.
interest. Yeah, crush.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I don't have a book of rules on time travel. I don't know if they're out there. But it's probably top 5. I'm going to say top 5, right? Like number 1, Homer Simpson. I wish I hadn't killed that fish. It's probably up there, right?
Yeah.
But do not approach your 5-year-old significant other at that time.
Yeah.
That has to be top up. That is just it's awful. It's cringy. It's
Like there's a lot of implications. Like,
we all know that grooming is bad here in the real world in which time travel does not exist.
Yes.
Time travel just allows you to groom harder.
Well,
he's not grooming, he's terrifying this child.
Which can be one of the tools in the grooming toolbox.
When a disheveled man with a Cher haircut walks up to you with tears in his eyes and has never met you before, and it's just like, you and your mommy need to go, and it's like, whoa, okay, this isn't scarring.
just turn it into some sort of Dr. Seuss rhyme thing to give her warning about, there'll be no more fun when you hear the sound run. Something, just keep going on something like that. So that, but just leave a note or something. Don't approach a kid on a swing eating chocolate.
Yeah, don't do that.
End rant.
I mean, you're an educator. At some point, they have to say, just don't approach children you don't know that are eating chocolate, right? Like,
oh, that's okay. That's the next scene. Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I'm done talking about this.
No, the next scene is guns for women.
Jack, Kate, and Dan leave with the keys and the code. James, Jules, Jin, Miles, Hugo pack up, and they're going to go to the beach. They're not going to commandeer the submarine. They're gonna go back to square one, as Sawyer put it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, outside, Jack and Kate go to get the guns. Apparently, there's a safe full of guns in the motor pool, so you can get a Jeep and a gun at the same place. Pretty convenient.
Yeah, and I don't think you could get a SIG P226, because I don't think those were around to the 80s.
But when Jack and Kate go over to the motor pool to finish gearing up, Dan, this is where Dan goes over to the swing set and tells her that a very nice man named Dr. Chang is going to ask everybody to leave the island, and she should listen to him. She's a child.
Yeah.
Did she not? Would she not listen to her mother? If Dr. Chang was like, hey, everybody, especially those of you with children, evacuate the island, would Charlotte have been like, no, mommy, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to stay. Like, why was Dan compelled to give this additional warning in the first place? Did we miss a scene in which baby Charlotte she couldn't have not left the island because adult Charlotte exists. Dan was on the freighter with her. So, like, he doesn't have to warn her to leave because she did.
And he should know that.
And he should know that because he knows her as an adult, because he became attracted to her as an adult, which then compelled him to protect her as a child.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, but
Nick.
So she has to leave some time between the incident and when Ben kills everybody.
In the immortal words of Miles, are we sure that they're not the ones who caused the incident? Did the incident happen if they didn't trap? In the past, Nick, I used to be like, I think Coach's frustration with time travel stuff is a little irrational, but I'm coming around.
Well, two things could probably happen, right?
Yeah.
Either the incident is going to happen where he knows, well, she gets off because she's living
in 2004
present time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the incident doesn't happen and he doesn't have to warn her about shit.
Right.
Those are the only two things that I looked at that could happen there. Unless something else where the incident is going to happen, but alarms don't go off.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But, I don't know. Do we want to get into time travel stuff now? Because, like, this isn't the scene where he says basically that they have plot armor, right? Or is that's like the next scene where he's like, anybody can still die, right?
They don't have plot armor. That's the next scene, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll save that for the next scene then.
Okay. One thing I do want to say about this one, though, is they're getting all the guns and stuff, and Faraday comes up. He gets handed a rifle.
Yep.
And then says, do you have something for a beginner?
Yeah.
And my mind immediately went, in that 2 seconds right there, he was up him.
He was up him.
That is writing for... a writer looked at that and said, hey, let's go back to this Private Riot thing, because he sucked then.
Yeah. Also, pistols are infinitely harder to shoot than rifles.
Right.
They're just smaller.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, they gear up. They dig all the guns and the first aid kit and everything out of the lockup at the motor pool. At this moment, Radzinski and his goons arrive. They're like, hey, he sees Dan. He's like, hey, aren't you one of the nerds from the sub? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you're supposed to be over at the other thing. He's like, that's where we were going.
There's an accident or something.
Oh, yeah. He's like, there was an accident. Yeah. He lies, but he chooses the wrong lie.
And then he starts talking with his hands.
And then Radzinski's like, he's got a gun.
Oh, I forgot I was holding the gun. Shit. Maybe his memory is bad. Well, he's not wearing the tie, so head fall off.
Yeah,
His mind again.
But yeah, it dawns upon Radzinski, him and his fucking perfect situational awareness, that the people he's talking to all have a bunch of guns, and a gunfight breaks out.
Well, fucking Radzinski shoots Faraday and like grazes him in the neck.
Yeah.
And then somebody shoots Radzinski, right? Like
I think Jack shoots Radzinski.
Oh, well, at least, okay. I thought it was Faraday. I thought he was like, no, I've been shot by a nerd.
Oh, no. And his hatred of nerds is just more and more reinforced here.
It is Faraday. It is Faraday. We just watched it. The way
as he was falling backwards.
Just
That's a hell of a shot.
Nerd. What's that feel like?
Oh, yeah, because then even later he says, I just been shot by a physicist.
A physicist, yeah.
At least you weren't shot by a botanist.
It's so yeah. The battle with the motor pool cracks off. The thing. So like Jack's like behind the toolbox and he's blasting. He's like, "Go to the Jeep. I'll cover you." Blast, 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 blast. And then Kate and Dan run to the Jeep, and then he shoots a fucking barrel like a video game. The barrels explode, which I thought was bullshit because if they were explosive barrels, they should have been painted red.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, they explode, and then Jack jumps in the back of the thing. They get away. They manage to escape.
Yeah, small continuity thing there. She backs up, left tail light broken. A couple scenes later, left tail light good.
Yeah, totally fine.
Next scene, left tail light broken. So.
Women drivers, am I right?
Oh man, wait.
Yeah, they escape. We cut back to 2004. This must be shortly after after Widmore's visit. Ellie pulls up to Dan's place. He's playing the piano in spite of his mother playing the piano.
It's a nice ass piano.
He probably does all right for himself with having formerly had a pretty decent job as a researcher at Oxford with a £1.5 million grant.
Non-functioning metronome.
Oh, the time.
Time's different now. He's all messed up because his time is not there for him.
Ellie is like, hey, what's up? And he's like, why didn't you call? And she's like, you would have fucking forgot. Your memory's shot. I need you to take my ex-boyfriend up on his offer to go to the island. And he is like, I don't want to. But will it make you proud of me? And she says yes. And then he says, I'll do it.
Again, like, I get that she's supposed to be kind of like sinister or something, but you just want her to say, I'm already proud of you, son. This will just make you better or something. But I'm just like, she's kind of nurturing, but like she's still kind of maniacally evil and cold. And I don't get it. Like, I don't know. Or both of his parents are just pieces of shit.
It makes me wonder because she does have a level of sort of sinisterness, and I think that's born out of her mysterious quality. But maybe because she doesn't care for Charles anymore, part of her resents Faraday as sort of a reminder of Charles. I don't know.
Sure, I don't know.
Well, she's always wearing these shirts with the collars up.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a very Cruella de Vil sense to it, where she's just always evil when she's older.
Yeah, that's her.
I mean, and the show goes out of its way to make her sinister. It's not the three of us and our individual biases. Like, you don't know if she's a good guy or a bad guy, or if she's on the side of angels or what, you know? So
Also, doesn't she say, like, oh, I heard you got a grant? And he's like, how'd you know that? She's like, it's my business. And I was like, I asked your caretaker, dude, you have memory loss problems. Like, she tells me all sorts of stuff.
We cut back to 77. The Jeep arrives at the pylons at the sonic fence. Jack tends to Danny's wound. It's just a graze. He'll be fine, just a flesh wound. And then this is where he says, he's like, why are you so worried? And he's like, well, this is our present. Any one of us can die.
Incorrect. Full stop on the podcast. Sorry, boys. We're just talking about time travel for the next 10 minutes. It's a causality loop. It's the compass, right? Like, they've already seen the picture and things have happened in the future that must take place in the past. So, like, sure, if we don't want to explode, Faraday could just take a gun and shoot everybody. And that would change like everything. Like, his future would cease to exist, therefore the past would cease to exist. So, like,
but what Daniel's saying is that their future, all of their futures, is already their past.
Because it's happened already.
Yeah.
Right, but it's a loop. It has to continue happening now.
It's a loop, but it doesn't overlap. You remember Primer?
I hardly know her.
Thank you.
There it is.
What? Because Dan is saying is like, say Jack dies here. Say Jack dies now.
Right.
That doesn't stop him from the child version of him going through his life and getting on the plane in 2004 and crashing on the island. Because the thing that could cause that would cause a paradox or a causality problem would be if young Jack were to die. If Daniel were to kill child Jack, that would hypothetically be impossible because whatever happened.
But in Baby Jack's timeline, the events have already taken place. Therefore, he can't die.
Baby Jack can't.
No.
But adult Jack could.
Jack.
Sure.
No, because in that timeline, these events would have already taken place. So these events have already taken place in Jack's life long enough for him to become an adult to go into the past.
But this adult Jack doesn't become child Jack.
Jack, correct.
Child Jack and adult Jack hypothetically exist at the same time. There are two Jacks, just like there are two Kates, depending on how old they are. So this is 77. Say Jack was born in 75, whatever. There's a 2-year-old Jack and a 45-year-old Jack, both alive in 1977. And if 2-year-old Jack were to fucking die in Los Angeles, 45-year-old Jack in 1977 would get back to the future.
Hey, remember that this is a character show? Nick, aren't you glad you're on this episode?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's
why I brought the flask. Yeah, that's why I brought it along. I'm always ready.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Daniel's. That's what he says. Whether or not any of it's true or whatever, but that's his theory. That because this is their present, because they're on the leading edge of their time travel, they could die and it wouldn't cause any causality problems or paradoxes.
Yeah, he wants to stop the incident from happening so that 2-year-old Jack lives the life, gets on the plane, and it doesn't crash.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Cut back to the barracks. James and Juliet are packing up. They have like this little tiny character moment that I was too frustrated to write down.
Yeah, something.
And then the alarm goes off. They go to check out what's happening with the alarm, and Radzinski busts in with the goons. And things are like chill for just a second, like because Radzinski isn't yet suspicious. He's just like coming to James as the head of security, being like, "Hey, shit is popping off.
I got shot by a physicist."
But then James forgot that he filled the closet.
Yeah, there's a thud behind them, and then Radzinski violates LaFleur's Fourth Amendment rights and discovers Phil in the closet.
Yeah.
You know, Radzinski, at a certain point when everyone's in on this thing, maybe it's just they didn't want you involved in this thing. Maybe you're just uncool because You're the odd man out. You know what I mean?
So yeah, they pull the guns on Sawyer and Juliet, and this event right here is what leads them to being under lock and key and on the submarine later in like the incident and stuff like that. Cut to the jungle. Dan explains why they shouldn't be here in the first place, and then explains his plan to what Nick just mentioned earlier: stop the incident from happening. Basically stop the construction of the Swan site, which will prevent anybody from creating the button, which will prevent Desmond from missing the button Q, which is what we found out did cause the mid-air breakup of 815 back in season 2. We found that out. There's apparently a longer version of this scene.
Oh, good. That's what we needed.
Oh, man.
So maybe if you have the Blu-ray, you can be treated to that.
I'll find it up. Guess I'm not working tomorrow. Guess what, kids? It's quiz day.
They're like, how do you intend to pull any of this off? And he's like, I'm going to detonate a hydrogen bomb. They cut to Kate's face, and
it's so good.
This is the best acting I've ever seen on this show. It's so good. Her face is just like, what?
Yeah, I've got to pause right now. She's just like, Jesus Christ. Okay, so we had to travel through time to fix all this, and we've been doing all this stuff. We've been in gunfights. We had a kid got shot. Oh, we just have one more just one little itty bitty little step we got to do. We got to detonate a hydrogen bomb. Okay, whatever. Just.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever find out how the Dharma Initiative got their hands on a hydrogen bomb.
Oh, Nick, we do.
Did we figure out how they did that?
It's in Jughead.
Okay.
It's in my favorite episode we haven't watched yet called Jughead.
Okay.
It's not in Jughead.
Yeah, I remember some things about it that I won't spoil or anything, but okay.
Yeah, I don't think it matters at this point.
I don't think it matters at this point, but
spoiler alert, they get a hydrogen
bomb. I mean, okay, whatever.
That's the Always Sunny title card. The crew gets a hydrogen bomb.
They just went to an Army-Navy surplus store.
I mean, I've gotten weirder things.
Yeah,
I mean, course. Jughead is only 4 episodes of Lost on Lost away, so we're going to be talking about it in the relatively near future. Cut to 2007, back to the hospital room. Ellie apologizes to Penny for getting Desmond tangled up in the Widmore-Linus struggle for the island thing. Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, the nurse comes in and is like, hey, Desmond's out of surgery. He's okay. Do you want to go talk to him? And she's like, yeah. And then Penny goes in there and be like, I thought I lost you. And he's like, I said I'd never lose you. It's a little sweet moment. Ellie leaves the hospital, and out in front of the hospital, Widmore is waiting for her in the shadows. And they have a little conversation.
I was actually pretty proud of myself, because in this one he reveals that it's said for sure that Faraday is his son. Yeah. We put that together a few episodes ago, just kind of through thinking about the family tree. Yeah. But I'm sure lost people would have been like,
yeah, because he's like, well, he's my son too, and she slaps him. That I didn't write down anything else that happened in that. So
that's pretty much it.
Right. Yeah. Cut to 77. They arrive at the hostel's camp. Dan kind of like takes off ahead of them while Kate and Jack are kind of like hemming and hawing about the bomb plan, and Daniel just like walks into the middle of the camp, and they don't back him up. They're like, oh shit, like Jack is very much into his like, let the island take the wheel, and they like crouch down in the corn, and Dan like walks into camp, and a guy like the fucking security guard or whoever is just, he sees him, and Dan shoots the guy. He's like, don't pick up your gun. That's all. No.
Yeah, it's an M14 too. I think this is the first time I've seen an M14 like on the island. That's a sick piece of hardware. Ooh, baby.
Dan's like, all right, nobody's gonna get hurt. Nobody move. I just need to see Eloise. Take me to Eloise.
I've started shooting. Now everyone help me out.
Everybody calm down.
Now that I have your attention, I need a favor.
and then we hear Richard from off screen. Ellie's not here, man. And then we see the ever ageless Richard Alpert, who presumably at this point just got done dealing with injured Ben Linus and introducing a young Charles Widmore to him.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes out and he's like, Ellie's not here. Put the gun down. Let's all chill. And Dan's like, no, take me to Eloise. You've got to the count of 3. And Richard's like, chill out. And Daniel's like, 1. And then he's like, chill out more. And then Daniel's like, 2. And then he's like, you shouldn't do this. And then 3. And then there's a gunshot. But Richard has not been shot by Faraday. Daniel has been shot. Pretty much dead center in the back. His body slumps, and we see this young blonde woman behind him holding a smoking gun, who we lovingly here on the show know as Ellie.
Lovingly? That's a stretch.
She comes over. He recognizes her because that's what his mom looked like when he was a child.
Dude, the way his mom looked, talk about Jughead. Anyways,
he's lying on the ground dying. She comes over to him, and he realizes at that point, you always knew that you killed an adult me, and you sent me here anyway, knowing that would happen. All the context being, if you cared about me as your son, you would have done everything you could to prevent me from going to this island ever in my life. Mm-hmm. But because you care about time and stuff more than me, you made sure that I came here so that you could kill me to preserve the timeline.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what I mean. It's like, so she never sees him as like a son. He's like a means to an end.
I mean, I don't even know about a means to an end because it doesn't necessarily accomplish anything specific other than just like whatever happened happened. Ellie remembers as a young woman when she was pregnant on the island with the hostiles, she killed a man she didn't know who was threatening her friend Richard, and came to later find out in the next episode after reading his journal that she was his mother and that was her adult son that she was pregnant with at the time.
But she wants to make sure that she sets things in motion so that she doesn't shoot him, but then later on sends him so that he can go be shot.
I don't think she ever does anything to prevent him from getting shot.
Well, yeah. I thought that's why she helped him get to Jughead. That's how they sell it to her. To be like, hey, if you want to not shoot your son, we got to change the timeline.
Okay, so like 77 Ellie, I think somewhere in the next couple of days we'll realize that I don't know.
Exactly.
Precisely.
All right, I want to talk about the gunshot quick. So I know Richard is, immortal. The powers the island. There's always going to protect him.
Yeah.
But the 3 of them are in a direct line. That bullet went through.
Yeah.
And nothing hit Richard.
No.
That's
correct.
A really good point.
Yeah. Faraday's wound was a through and through. Hypothetically, the bullet should have struck Richard immediately.
Because when he falls, she is directly behind him. That is a straight line.
Like Richard didn't see her, therefore she must have been right behind him. Rule number 4 of firearms: know your target and what lies beyond it.
Maybe it struck him in the back, and then as it was penetrating his back, hit a rib, which moved the bullet's path to a bit of an angle. And then as it was exiting the front, it hit a rib on the front of his chest, which angled it some more and magic bulleted it around.
There we go.
Just a small piece of it hits Ethan, and he goes, yes.
Lost. Very cool.
Nick's still drinking. Yeah. Boy. Did we like it? Was it good?
Nick.
Oh. Nick, please tell us what you thought of this episode. Because I need someone else's opinion before I can even formulate one.
All right, so this is an episode of Lost that has more stuff going on than many, many other episodes.
Yeah.
This is in the top 5 of, there's a lot of shit happening here.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, after watching this way too many times, going and watching the preceding and the succeeding episode just to get, I'm just gonna, I've seen it before, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
Just as this episode is, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of action. They explain a lot of things. They don't explain a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I just have to go right in the middle with it and give it sort of a meh because it's like, yes, it's an action-packed episode. There's a lot to take in, but if you have no context at all, other episodes you could maybe follow along with in some points, but this by itself is just, whoa.
Right. If you were just channel flipping and this came on, you're like, I've never seen Lost. Let me check this out. You'd be like, what the fuck? Excuse me?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good episode of television, but it just overloads many, many senses.
Oh,
Yeah.
JP, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to Nick. Like, I think technically this is probably a good episode of Lost. I don't think it's a good episode of television, and I don't think I liked it. I'm so confused. Like, we just talked about this for an hour and 22 minutes. I still don't understand a good chunk of where things happen in the timeline.
Sure.
And, like, I don't know. I feel like we're pretty good at figuring out where things go because we've been doing this podcast for like 4 years. Mm-hmm. This one's got me pretty bamboozled.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Adam.
I found the content of the episode very interesting.
Sure.
Because putting myself in the shoes of a chronological viewer, I think that this is a great way to kick off sort of this final third act of season 5 as a whole.
Uh-huh.
I think that with the context, this episode would be much, much better, which is something I think applies to a lot of season 5 in ways that it doesn't apply to other episodes of season 4 and season 6 that we've watched. We've been able to watch and enjoy episodes of season 4 and episodes of season 6 relatively context free and get a lot of enjoyment out of them.
Sure. But
yeah, there were parts of it that I thought were really, really cool. And then there were other parts that I thought were really, really dumb. And then there were other parts where I got a little lost. And so I think I gotta give it an average, just like a real middle of the road. Context would help this out a lot more. And yeah, if I was watching this in order, it'd probably be better. But without it, it's a little tough to wrangle.
Just a lot of mez across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know that I feel like the Lost community might be a little mad at us because I'm sure this is like a very important episode to some people.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. We did the Constant, and I love that one, but that one's like its own timey-wimey bullshit episode that's like self-contained.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's a little Desmond mess around, and this one Faraday's like, I need to put all these pieces together, and I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about, dude. I barely know who you are.
Should we do some MVPs?
I think we have to, dude. I'm still running through this in my head, and I'm still confused.
Yeah. The Lost MVP, the number one part of the episode. No context, no memories, no anything else. Just this 45 minutes of television. The variable. Who is the Lost MVP? Nick, why don't you start us off?
I think a lot of people would probably look at it since it's his episode would say Faraday. Mm-hmm. I can't do that.
That's fine.
I think it's more of Jeremy Davies acting.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm going to give my MVP to Miles in this episode.
Sure.
And it's just because with a lot of stuff going on, in the end, Miles is like, I'm not going to deal with any of this shit. Mm-hmm. Like his time, as soon as Faraday came off the sub, his eyes get big and he's like, ugh, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And immediately Faraday's like, take me to Jack. I got to go to Jack. And he's like, all right. And he takes him there. And then he's like, oh, you got to take me to the Orchid Station. He's like, all right, I'll drive you.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and he's got to deal with, oh, he's your dad. He's like, no, I'm not. He just wants to get him out of there. And finally, when they're like, we're going to go to the hostels, he's like, drive me there. He just, take the keys.
Yeah,
I'm done with this.
I'm out. Yep.
I tried helping you buffoons.
Yeah. So just for mainly not having to deal with any of the time travel stuff, but just getting his day messed up and the way he dealt with it, I'm going to give it to Miles.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Absolutely.
JP?
I'm going to say this knowing that I'm not in the best mental state right now because of this episode. And I think that it's reflected in this pick. I'm going to give it to Kate. Solely for her one eye roll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that's how I felt this whole time. Miles, your description of Miles, had I not already decided on Kate in my head, I think he's in the same vein.
Yeah.
It's that same, just like, you motherfuckers. I am whatever. Okay, whatever. But just Kate's just, oh, God. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Kate. Evangeline Lilly, you finally got one.
Wow.
Her reaction to Dan's little speech is a perfect Lost moment. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm going to turn that into a GIF and then just have it. Adam.
Juliet.
Okay.
Because, she's like, with the Sawyer and Kate thing, watching him get all fucking rosy about her again and being like, you know what? The easiest way to remove her from your life is to get her out of my life. Here's the code. Go away. Go do the bomb thing. I'm going to the beach. Taking my boyfriend who still picks me second despite having lived with me for the past 3 years. I'm taking him away from you. I want mine. Like, I had a life. You fucked it up. I'm going to try to preserve my life as best I can.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah, Juliet for not putting up with the shit either. Like, yeah, Miles, Kate, Juliet. Yeah, that works.
Yeah. It's a bunch of people who are really disinterested in the timey-wimey bullshit.
Yeah.
Their day was severely inconvenienced.
Yes. By the arrival of a nerd whose head fall off. The other side of this coin, the Lost Forever. King Suck of Shit Mountain out here fucking up, hacking their way through the episode like a big old hack. Lost Forever. Nick.
Start us off.
Oh, you could pick a lot of them here.
Yeah.
And we sort of touched on his character in this, and there was the one moment that JP said that he was kind of nice and everything and had kid gloves, but I'm still going to go with Charles Widmore on this one. Just for, I mean, he was just kind of a dick throughout this whole thing with like, I had to sacrifice the relationship with my daughter, and he's still our son when, he clearly didn't really give a shit other than the powers that he had. But I think it was just kind of an eat the rich moment when he was sitting on the couch talking about the wreckage.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Said, it was a hoax, a very elaborate and expensive hoax. He was just laughing at the fact that I had enough money to pull this off, and I'm just like, you're a douche.
Yeah. I forgot
so
about
just
that.
For that moment right there, I'm going to be like,
it cost so much to do this. It didn't really affect me in a major way, but I did spend a lot.
Somehow I'll turn this elaborate ruse into a tax write-off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like
that. And that will be your grant money somehow.
Yeah. That'll be your 1.5 million pounds.
Pounds.
Nice. What was that, like $18?
Suck it, Britain. USA. JP.
Speaking of suck it, Britain, it's got to be Eloise. She sends her son back in time knowing that she's going to shoot him, and she was still a dick to him his entire life. Don't learn to play the piano. Like,
her telling him not to play the piano was part of guaranteeing he makes it to the island.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a shitty thing to do.
Right. Like, she probably never even got him a Roboraptor for Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, just rude. I don't like her. Although young Eloise is pretty smoking.
Oh, so she's Irish, not British.
Whatever. Well, she can be Northern Ireland.
That's fair. She's from Dublin.
Yeah.
We love the Irish.
Adam.
Fucking Radzinski. I hate this guy.
He's just manic.
He's like the personification of like the people that aren't allowed to have firearms. Like, wildly flying off the handle, emotionally erratic, just buck wild. God damn, I hate that dude. I'm glad he got shot by. I'm so glad that Daniel was the one who shot him.
Oh yeah,
in the motor pool battle. Like, that's great. Like the one who was like,
good.
"Give me a beginner gun," and then blast him. Awesome. Suck it.
I do remember very early on with us meeting Radzinski, I did give him a lost MVP, and I do kind of feel bad about that now. I can't change it, but
don't feel, because he's also, I think he was our first Triple Crown of season 2 for Lost Forever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Holy moly. The variable.
Yeah.
Man.
Whew.
Nick, you and I were texting yesterday, and I apologized over text for making you watch this.
And I said, I'm ready.
I'm apologizing in person, publicly, on the pod. I'm sorry. This is tough. This is a tough one.
The format did it no favors. Nonetheless, very happy to have you back, Nick.
Absolutely.
Oh, indeed.
Still had a great time.
Yeah, love having you on the show. Sad that this is the only second time we've got you on.
I know.
But we had to save you for this one. Do you have anything you want to plug?
I'm starting to roll back into the stand-up comedy thing. So if anything comes back during the summer, look for posters, places. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll re-add it to my YouTube channel that I think someone else made for me. I don't know. It's been a crazy time. It's been a crazy time.
What venues are you looking at for stand-up? Like Appleton, Milwaukee? Like, what are you looking at? Like, are there any places that you might show up at?
It all kind of depends. Appleton, Madison started up a while ago. Green Bay was getting big. There was a promoter that got us like going through, and he would always book these things, and they would always 100% fill up, but it would be in places like Abrams or Swamico or something, Pulaski. They had an old church like hangar type thing in Pulaski, and the place was just completely booked, and they were like had like dinner for these people. And those have been the best shows.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah. Check out your local potential comedy spots in Wisconsin, in northern and central Wisconsin, because you might see Nick Brandl crossing the stage and making some yucks.
You might see Nick Brandl being escorted out by security again.
You never know. You never know.
Did we just kick that guy out 20 minutes ago? He snuck back in.
He's got different pants on.
Son of a bitch. Adam, what are we watching next time?
Great question. Next time, just a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be watching, season 5, episode 8. Little episode called Le Fleur.
Le Fleur.
Central character, James Sawyer Ford.
Oh, that'd be really funny if it wasn't.
Central character, Charlotte Lewis.
Son of a bitch.
Brian Markovich might be coming back for that one. That's the current plan.
The otter.
So if you remember back in the day for Tabula Rasa, Big Bad Brian will be back hopefully, and coming back in a couple weeks if you want to check that out. But in the meantime, Nick, thank you again so much for taking the time for coming back to the show. Love to have you.
Always a pleasure.
Driving all the way down to my house. My cat's been screaming at you the whole time. We've been recording,
I had the emergency flask with me. We're good.
Yeah. Good thing,
That's
too.
why it's there.
Yeah.
Rather have it not need it than need it not have it.
Precisely.
Thank you, the audience, for putting up with us yet again. Thank you, JP, for all of your efforts, both in front of and behind the microphone.
Absolutely. Yep. And wait, in front of? Yeah, I'm JP.
I'm Adam.
Do you have any idea what's going on in this show?
Absolutely not.
Me neither. Oh, is this a variable?
Oh, God, a variable?
500 cigarettes.
Lost on Lost is produced and edited by me and JP.
We wish to acknowledge that we live, work, and produce our show on occupied land.
Burbank, California is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Tongva, Chumash, Kizh, and Fernandino Tataviam peoples.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miama, and Ho-Chunk peoples.
And Lost was produced in Hawaii on the lands of the Kanaka Maoli.
Visit native-land.ca to learn more about the land you live and work on.
You can engage with us on IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Lost on Lost 1.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com or support us with dollar monies at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
Thanks to Lostpedia and its community of contributors, Danny Schmitz, random.org, and as always, you the listeners for tuning in.
We're hosted at Podbean. You can hear us there or wherever you get your podcasts, except MySpace. We're not on MySpace.
Yet.
Welcome to our podcast.